Hey everybody, Mike here. For today's step-by-step tutorial, I'm walking through in excruciating detail how to draw Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Now I'm going to be drawing every turtle in every different style that I can find. I'm going to create videos for all of them, and I've created a playlist and linked that in the description below. I've also linked that playlist at the end of the video, so after you're finished watching this one, I encourage you to go watch all those videos. Now the reference image on the screen will be the turtle we're drawing today. If you know his name, put that in the comment section below. Hint, his name is in the title. So let's get into the drawing. Okay, today we're drawing Leonardo from the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Nickelodeon series. So let's grab our tools. We've got our paper, pencil, eraser brush, thin eraser, and fat eraser. Anything you need, I've got links in the description below, so go check those out. Now let's get into the drawing. We're gonna orient our paper vertically. I'm gonna take my pencil and we're gonna start just sketching out loosely and lightly the skeleton of the character. Just outlining the character. I'm gonna locate the head in the upper part of the page towards the center, and I'm just gonna start by sketching the head, just a loose circle to represent it. Then I'm gonna take a line down representing the body line. Then I'm gonna draw kind of an oval, represent the body, loose and sketchy. We're gonna erase these lines later. Now we're gonna draw the limbs. We're gonna start with the shoulders, a little circle to represent the left shoulder, and another one to represent the right shoulder. We're gonna draw a couple of lines for the neck, and now we're gonna draw the legs. We're gonna draw the connection where the leg connects to the body, under the shell chest plate, like that. And then I'm just gonna draw some lines to represent the legs. So curve a line down, a little circle for the knee, and then the shin to the foot. And I'm just gonna draw a little triangle to represent the foot. And the left leg is a little further back, so we're gonna curve it down. It's a little straighter, circle for the knee. And then this one's gonna curve the other way. So you're seeing a different angle on the leg, and then another triangle to represent the foot. Okay. Now we're gonna go back to the shoulder. We're gonna draw a line for the arm. The elbow hits right about here. I'm gonna draw a little circle to represent the elbow. And then we're gonna take it down to the wrist, which comes about mid-thigh, right about there. So line up mid-thigh, and a circle for the hand. This shoulder kind of goes back a little bit, back behind the chest plate. Now, if you look at his chest plate, he's kind of angling this way. So we're gonna represent the arm as kind of being a little behind. Take a line down from the shoulder, right about here to the elbow bend, circle to represent the elbow, and then the forearm to the wrist, another circle. Okay, so that's the basic shape of our character. Now we're gonna start adding in some detail. I'm gonna go back to the head and start with the head. I'm gonna draw a line, a curved line to bisect the face, so I can understand where the center of the face is, and another line across to represent the eye line, okay? Now we're gonna draw, he doesn't have a nose, but we're gonna just indicate where kind of like the nose would be, and then where the mouth would be. Another line that goes across towards the bottom. Okay, so those are the basic layout of the face. The eyes are a little far apart. We're gonna kind of indicate them here, one over here and one over here. And because he's got a mask on, we're gonna just kind of sketch that in, a little cross for the top of the eye and one at the bottom for the bottom part. And it can go right over the nose line. And then he's got a little smile going, so we're gonna indicate that, curve the lines up, one line down and back up to indicate the mouth. Now the cheeks kind of come out a little rounder, a little past the mask. So I'm going to curve the cheeks around the mouth, come past the mask, something like that. Again, our lines are really sketchy at this point. We're just kind of seeing where everything is. And then the top of the head, little dome cap between the edges of the mask. Okay. I'm going to start erasing some guidelines and cleaning up the head. And as I'm finalizing lines, you'll notice they're getting darker. Clean up as needed. Just grab your eraser. I use this thin eraser because it's like a mechanical pencil and it's got a really thin eraser, and it helps me be really precise with where I'm erasing. Fat erasers when you want to erase a lot of big stuff. And then let's draw in the iris and the pupils. Feel free to turn the paper if it makes it easier. I rest my wrist on the paper and then I get a little more control over what I'm drawing. I'm going to add some teeth in. There's a little fade here, so I'm going to fill that in. And then the teeth just kind of come across like this. That should be good enough. Just take a couple lines in a little bit. You don't have to go all the way across. Okay. And then let's draw the little streamers that come off of his mask. Just curve a line up and down and up again. Vary the width, just copy the line. Keep them curving in the same way. And then there's two of them. So do another one down here. They can overlap a little bit. Let's let this one go behind. Okay, so now let's go back to the chest plate. Now the chest is a little tilted this way or facing this way. Okay, so we're gonna change the center line of where the chest is, and the chest is actually in 6 pieces and it's flat. We're gonna adjust the center line. And so this line represents the spine. This line represents the center of the chest, just slightly to the right of it. Take it right to about here. And then we're gonna draw the crosses of the chest plate. We've got one right about here, go right across like that. And then there's one here, and it's below the belt, but we know it's here. So we're just gonna draw it to represent it. And that way we could create the rest of the chest plate. So we're gonna take a line down here and we're gonna curve it down slightly and reconnect there. And then we're gonna curve it in. At the bottom, it becomes more of a triangle than a square. Same thing on the other side, slightly curve, connect the edges of the chest plate, and then curve it in like that, triangle. At the top, we're gonna take a line slightly up and then down to the center, slightly up, and then down to the edge. And that's pretty much the chest plate. Do a little cleanup of our guidelines as we don't need them anymore. The lighter lines are gonna get erased, the sketchy lines from our initial layout. Now let's draw the neck and connect it into the chest plate. Here on the right side, we're just gonna connect it there. And there's a little bit of a shoulder here, or the space between the shoulder and the neck. And then the arm shoulder comes a little square here, and it's behind the chest plate. And that represents the shoulder. On this side, a little different. Neck comes down, a little curve to separate the neck from the shoulder. And then the shoulder, draw kind of an oval shape over our little circle here. And it goes back in behind the chest plate here. And the shoulder, the top of the shoulder is a little lower than the space between the neck and the shoulder. We're gonna clean up this side. These lines are still sketchy, so I'm trying to finalize them. And I'm gonna clean up this end too. And I'm gonna make it not so hard of an edge there. Now the biceps are next, and they come up on this side. The bicep comes up into the shoulder. So we're gonna curve a line down along the edge of the chest plate, and just curve a little line there. And then once you get to the elbow or the bend in the elbow, there's a wrap for the elbow pads. So we're gonna just curve a line here and here at the elbow line. And that's gonna represent a wrap that goes around. So between the bicep and the forearm. Now the turtles, these specific turtles, their arms and shoulders and their legs are thin, and then they get wider as you go down. So as you go towards the hand, it's wider. So here we're gonna take this forearm and we're gonna go out. So here's our guideline. We're gonna go out a little wider, and then it curves back in, and they've got really square edges. They're not smooth curves like most arms. And then we're gonna take a line down here for the other side, right about here, a straight line, and then bend it back towards the circle representing the wrist. And then there's another flat edge here, and we're gonna bend that in before we go to the hand. And we also have wraps on the wrists, just kind of represent that like that. Once we get to the hand, thumb is wrapping around a katana, so we're going to take a line like that. And I'm gonna stop there for now on this arm. We'll draw the hands later. If you've watched any of my videos, you know I hate drawing hands. These hands are not as bad because there's only a couple of fingers. Let's go back to the other side and work on this arm. So the shoulder overlaps the bicep a little bit. Bicep curves down towards the elbow here. We're gonna curve a line up and around, and then the tricep curves down to the elbow here. So draw kind of an S-shaped curve here. I'm gonna get rid of the guidelines here. And now we can actually see a little more of the elbow pads. So I'm gonna take a curved line here. And again, you got the elbow pad, and then it wraps the inside of the elbow, and it gets thin here, and then it kind of comes out like a triangle. So we're gonna curve a line like this, and we're gonna bend it in. It's a little concave line, and then the elbow pads come out a little bit like this. I'm gonna just draw a curved line here, representing the edge of the elbow pad. And then there's little gaps, so we're gonna do these little triangles, space them out evenly. I do like to use line weights and thicken my lines a little bit as they're more final. I'm gonna draw a little line here representing the bicep, and we're taking the shoulder back under the chest plate. Lines in the chest plate are getting a little darker. There are a couple of wraps that go across. Leo holds his katanas in a sheath on the back of his shell, so the wrap comes over the shoulder and comes down to the belt. I'll draw the belt in a minute. Now this forearm, again, starts narrow, and it gets wider as you go towards the wrist. I'm gonna take a line back here. We're narrow at the elbow, and we're gonna get wider. So I'm gonna go out wide, right to about the wrist kind of ends right here, right at the connection point of the leg to the shell. So we're gonna wrap that in. There are a couple of wraps. Draw that, and then again, his forearms are a little square, So this line represents the edge of that. Now we're going to draw this hand, take a line off the edge of the wrist. And again, he's holding a katana in his right hand, and we're only seeing the back of his hand. So we're going to just curve a line down, and then his thumb comes out and wraps around the other side of the katana. So you're not really going to see much of his hands. We'll draw a knuckle line, so curve a line down like this, and then we're going to be putting a katana right here. And we're just going to draw a square here to represent the bottom of the katana, just a little angled square here. And we'll probably fix the angle on that later. It does have some wraps across his knuckles. Okay, and then the katana is going to kind of come through here. Here's where a straight edge comes in handy. I did not indicate that as one of my tools, but I do keep one in my bag. Katana is going to kind of come down like this. So I'm just going to draw a straight guideline to represent where the katana is going to go. And we'll use that as a guide when we draw that in. Let's add a little bit of detail to the wraps on his wrists. Just draw a couple of lines like this. Kind of zigzag it across. Do the same on the other side. You can see everything starting to smudge. I do use a really soft lead, and it creates a little smudges when I'm rubbing my hand across the page as I'm drawing. Fat eraser helps clean this up a little bit. Okay, so let's draw the legs now. The top of the right leg starts right about here, and we're going to use our guideline, curve a line down till we get to the knee, which is represented by this circle here, and then take a line straight from the center of this piece of the chest plate, and we're going to curve it down towards the knee as well, but it's going to be a little straighter. And then this leg is actually going to come off a little lower. So we're going to curve a line. So this leg is kind of back a little bit. Curve a line over, and then it's going to come into the knee pad. So it's going to kind of angle in like that, and it's going to be on the inside thigh, the back of the leg. It's going to kind of come from the center, curve down towards the knee as well. Start getting rid of some of these guidelines as well, cleaning up the drawing. Now the knee pads on these turtles are really big, and in the case of the right leg, you're seeing it more straight on. I'm going to curve a line up like this, across, and again, the knee is our center point, and I'm going to curve a line below it as well, right here, and then I'm going to curve a line down. So we're basically creating a curved square, or a square with rounded edges, and then we're going to take a couple of lines across to represent the gaps in the knee guard, the knee pad. There's 3 sections, 1, 2, 3. I'm going to erase some of these guidelines and anything that it's covering, get rid of the edges here, and then we're going to create them each as individual segments, and I'm just going to take the lines in here at the bottom, take those lines in as well. So it looks like it's all connected, and then there's a gap between each one. A little curve here to represent the knee. On this end, it's this curve here, but you're seeing it from a different view. Let's get rid of this guideline. And now on the right leg, we're getting towards the foot. Again, it gets wider as it goes down. So we're going to draw the calves, which don't really look like calves, but they come off the knee. Again, the knee center line is right there. And then we're just going to get wide with the foot. And the foots are pretty flat. So curve it down until it hits the ground. Let's say our ground is right about here. And then we're going to curve a line around and back again. On the other side, we're going to take it down. We're going to draw the toes, and there's actually a flat piece right here. I'm going to curve the forward and around, because that represents our toe line. And we're going to take some lines up to represent the individual toes. And once you get to this curve, take the line back. And then there is a toe wrap, but we'll do that in a second. Let's get the leg set. These legs and these versions of the turtles are actually really weird. Around the shin, there's more wraps. Let's draw those in. Curve a line around, and then one over. The toes are exposed, and the wraps come down like that. So that's that leg. And then this leg is more of a side view. Our knee pads, you can see the back of the knee. We got the wrap there, it gets wide here. Again, the center of our knee is right about there. Now we're gonna draw the same knee pads, but on a side view. Curved line out like this. I'm gonna do another one here. Finishing up the knee pad on the left leg, just like that. Okay, so we have to do the foot on the left leg. You can still lightly see the guideline here as we erased it. Calf sticks a little further back. We're seeing a leg from the side. I'm gonna take that back, and the foot starts here. The foot are generally aligned, but the right leg foot is a little further down. So we're gonna be up here. Let's just create a little guideline. That's kind of where we wanna be. And curve up towards the ankle, the back of the ankle, and that's the profile of our leg. And then we're gonna come out with the shin on this side, curve the line down, and then the toes stick out a little bit. So we're gonna do that. And then we're gonna erase the line we were trying to meet on the floor and curve it so the foot looks curved. And that's that. So that's the profile. We're gonna draw one toe, take a line up like this and curve it back, and then the wraps. And you could draw a little guideline here or a little indicator that there's an edge to the foot. like that. And the wraps go about halfway up. So just show some curved lines that wrap around. Okay, so that's our foot. Now let's go back to this hand. I'm gonna draw the hand first before I draw the katana. So the wrist kind of comes down back like this, and the fingers are gonna wrap around. And then the thumb comes up and over like this. You're gonna see the square of the protector on the katana. So the thumb comes down, the guard is here, slight angle. Just draw a rectangle, like that. And you do see the back edge of the katana right here. Draw a little line here to represent where the katana comes through, like this, and it's gonna angle this way slightly. It's gonna look really small because it's coming at you. Again, here is where the precision eraser works really well. Draw a couple of wraps around the knuckles, but you don't really see the left hand much at all. Okay, so that's that one. Let's do this katana. I'm gonna draw the pommel that goes all the way through. Let's do it about this far. Just follow the guideline, erase the guideline, and then the end of the grip. All right, then let's draw the actual blade. Kind of comes through like this, and it goes all the way past the left leg. Erase what it would be covering on the leg here. It's not matching the guide drawing, the reference drawing exactly, but it's close enough. The reference is just to kind of see where things are, but you're not trying to copy exactly what you see. Otherwise you'd go crazy because it wouldn't look exactly like what you're looking at. As long as you get the gist of it, I think you're good. Okay, that's pretty much the turtle, but what is missing? He doesn't have a shell. So I've spent all the time on the front of the body. Now let's talk about the shell. You're gonna see the shell at various locations where it kind of peeks through. So we're gonna go back to this guideline here. I'm gonna draw the back of the shell. And we're gonna just curve a line from the bicep to the leg, kind of like this. We do see a little bit of the shell right through here. It really just creates a shadow. So we're gonna just try to make sure our lines meet up. It's like if they were to go through where it would end up here. Create a little shadow there. Now there's two edges to the shell, so I'm gonna draw another line. And I'm gonna taper it in as I get closer to the leg, like that. And then you do see a little bit of the shell up past the shoulder. So we're gonna curve this line up and around and connect it to the cheek. And then you just see a little hint of it on this side too. So just right here, just a little curved line. One is fine. Okay, if you wanna shade that in and make it a little darker, that's fine. And now the last thing to draw is the belt and the straps. So we're just gonna give the shell a little bit of a curve and a thickness. So I'm gonna add a little curve here, like that. Do the same over here. And then we're gonna take a line across. So this, we're gonna use this as now our guideline because the belt covers that. We're gonna take a line across to represent the strap and one right below it. Strap comes down like that, a little further than the edge of the chest plate. It's gonna be a little bit of a line here because it's gonna start bending back once it gets to this point, and we're gonna curve back around the shell. So I'm just gonna angle a line slightly down, same over here, and it's gonna wrap around the back of the shell. You can get rid of all the lines in here because that's now covered by the strap. And then there's a little bit of detail here, so I'm gonna just draw a curved line up here to represent the space between the chest plate and the shell. This little cut line represents the inside gap. And then there's a couple of little details on these versions of the turtles. So we're gonna take some lines back here. You do not see any of the shell through this area, although I might add that detail. The shell there. Arms are covered. The last thing to draw is the straps that go over the shoulder and connect here. So I'm gonna take a line, I'm gonna curve it from over the shell and angle it across the chest to connect with the belt right about here. You can do a little overlap here. They're really thin straps and there's two of them. So I'm gonna curve this line down. And then the other one comes over as well. I think they're gonna be closer together here and then they're gonna spread out across the chest and connect with the belt here. Do a little erasing up here at the top. Take that second line down. And if you want, you can put the little buckles in. Just thing, it doesn't have to be like a full buckle. So here is the final pencil drawing of our turtle hero. I've actually gone back and cleaned up a couple of the lines and erased some things and changed some things. So here's the final drawing. Now I'm also going to do a Posca marker color short. I'm going to put that in the comment section and pin it to the top. If you have a second, go ahead and check that out. Hope you found this video helpful. Like, subscribe, comment on the video, and if you're dying to watch more how to draw Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle videos, I've got a playlist right here. Check it out.